Hello and welcome to the Home Assistant Podcast. This is episode 2021.9. As usual, my name is Rohan Karamandi, and with me I have Phil today. Hey Phil.
Hey Rohan, how's it going?
Good.
This episode is sponsored by Home Assistant Cloud by Nabu Casa. Easily access your local Home Assistant instance remotely for a small monthly fee that supports the Home Assistant and ESP Home projects. Configuration is done by the user interface, so there's no fiddling with router settings, SSL certificates, or any YAML.
So 2021.9, what is new? First off, you may have noticed this if you already installed 2021.9, but there's, and if you use the energy monitoring, there's actually battery and gas monitoring in there too now. So the last release basically added this new energy management dashboard or energy consumption dashboard, however you want to call it. But basically now they can now report on gas consumption, so like natural gas or whatever consumption, and as well as any home batteries you might have. So if you have like a Tesla Powerwall or something like that, it can now report on all of that as well. It's actually pretty cool. I didn't realize that there's energy providers out there for gas that actually report, I guess via API or something like that, people's gas consumption, which is pretty sweet. So that can get pulled into Home Assistant as well.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of providers that do gas, and I think as part of this, there's also a new P1 integration or a P1 monitor integration, which we can talk about later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it basically allows you to read data from your smart meter via a special serial port. So yeah, I guess that's another way to bring data in. And I think there's, as part of that release, they've also introduced new measurement units for gas, just to make it a bit more standard, just like they've had to done with the energy in terms of, using kilowatt hours and tracking, instead of just kilowatts. Same thing with the gas. I'm pretty sure they've just changed that around a little bit. I must admit, I was a bit disappointed. I assumed, for whatever reason, that when they said battery tracking, it was going to be like all the battery devices around the home. No idea why I thought that. But I was like, oh, yeah. Cool. Maybe they're like introducing a new energy dashboard to monitor, all the states of your batteries. Because, how many battery sensors does everyone have, right?
Of course.
So I thought that would be really, that's what I assume was coming. But of course, home batteries and energy batteries makes much more sense.
Correct. So if you have a backup battery for your house or something like that, it can monitor that. I wonder if that's also... No, it wouldn't make sense to monitor a generator with that. Like, I know a lot of folks have, especially when you're in like farm country or something like that, you might have a backup generator where you don't have reliable power. But I guess that's not in there yet. And maybe, I haven't even seen a smart one, which is like what does it tell you? Like, hey, here's how much fuel's left. And
yeah. Have you seen the screenshot of the energy card when there's natural gas, solar panels, electricity, battery, like all these things coming in, right? I don't know how much more. Like, it looks clean as it is. And it's taken a lot of
adding more might make it messier.
But, all of a sudden we started adding diesel generators and all that. Like, I can imagine that would get complicated pretty quickly. Yeah.
I mean, if you have all of that too, you probably have a complex setup. So yeah, it makes sense that it looks complex. So it's an electrician's dream to work on your stuff at that point, I think.
That's it. So as part of the the energy monitoring dashboard that we've seen introduced, it's now had a little bit of a change to the UI as well. So you'll notice up in the top menu bar, I think the settings section is now gone. That's moved into the actual configuration area of Home Assistant, but it has been replaced by the ability to change what time period you're seeing the dashboard for. So you can now see, based on today, you can see by day, week, month, or year. Pretty cool. This is all part of the new statistics engine that Home Assistant has been rolling out with. If you've been paying attention in the background, Home Assistant has been started populating statistics in your Home Assistant database over the past several releases. And I think this is now the first moving towards getting those devices and systems, being able to support those long-term statistics. So as part of this release, we're now seeing a few integrations having their sensor types updated to support the long-term statistics. So that's include things like speedtest.net, OVO Energy, and decons as well. So I think we're going to see a lot more integrations moving forward, moving over to these new sensor types that have the long-term statistics. So yeah, good to see work being done there.
Yeah, no, exactly. And even like, for example, just longer term statistics in the sense of like, I mean, they gave a example in the RC page, which I'm sure will be in the regular documentation too, once the release gets out, of just somebody showing like a stats graph from, their garden of the luminosity outside or whatever, right?
Yep.
So, it's first of all, that graph looks really nice. So good. That's a beautiful configuration. Whoever did it, thank you. But no, it is. I think the idea is how do we actually, again, even things like getting the average and like things like that and things. I think there's a lot more going into that. But there's definitely. I mean, Phil and I were just talking about this offline. There's definitely a lot more emphasis going into the energy dashboard and a lot of that stuff too, right? So, which is pretty interesting.
I'm very excited. Like this, I think there's been a lot of focus on this energy dashboard from a few team members at Nabu Casa / Home Assistant. And it's definitely been a focus over the next few years. I do like when a whole bunch of people get together behind one project, and they're focusing right now on this sort of energy reporting and long-term statistics. I can't obviously I love this. I can't wait to see what coming down the pipeline, because there's been so much this thing just like literally came out in one release, right? And it's already an awesome dashboard that people can extend. I think the team at Nabu Casa is now really hitting their stride, right? So yeah, I think could be interesting to see what comes out in the next few releases as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes down to, Phil, is they're basically where they kind of want to be for the most part with the project, right?
Yep.
And I mean, now it's just little things, right? Hey, we got to touch up this little thing here, or we got to change up this little thing there, right? And that constant process of bringing things to the front end configuration,
yep.
As well as being able to do it in the back end, right? Because I know sometimes that's a complaint a lot of folks have is I like doing it through. I keep wanting to say CLI, but I like wanting to do it through like my config files, whatever.
Yeah.
And sure, whatever. But at the same time, it's the project has a look forward with this kind of a model, and there's a couple of things left to do, but I think it sounds like they're starting to ramp up in other areas as well, right? Like this energy monitoring dashboard.
Yeah. So yeah, even like the media player dashboard is too, like the whole media player management system is now in Home Assistant, right? Like really cool, like things that have landed this year.
Yeah, we saw there was a bit of a push for that through a couple of releases, right? And then I think that's kind of where they want to be, which I think is actually kind of cool, right? Where they basically have, okay, let's focus the next 3 releases on blah blah blah, whatever this new feature that we have.
Yep.
And then bring it in, get the feedback, make some changes, bring it in more, and then just keep building on that. And then it's basically mainline at that point. And then
exactly, and then just little enhancements or bug fixes here and there.
Yeah. Some of the other stuff that they've been working on, USB devices are now recognized. So when you plug in a USB device, something like a Z-Wave or a Zigbee stick that Home Assistant knows about, it actually gives you a little pop-up and says, hey, new device discovered, whatever, which is great. I know in the past, trying to set up my trying to set up my Conbee stick, you had to kind of go in and find the exact like device path and so on and so forth. It is not intuitive.
Yep.
Right. So, I mean, sure, if you want to use some custom whatever stick or something that's not generally supported, you can still do that by that old method. But right now, if it's one that's supported in Home Assistant, you just pop it in, it shows up in the as a discovered device, and you basically just click configure and off you go.
I think it'll prompt you like, hey, you've inserted a Z-Wave stick. Do you want to activate the Z-Wave integration, and go from there?
Yeah, exactly. So right now it works with Z-Wave JS specifically and ZHA, right? So, you have your whatever Conbee stick or whatever, you plug it in and it'll say, you get a little blue button. Same way if a new, like, I don't know, Wemo or something that is discovered,
Yep.
you'll see a little discovered bubble, and you click configure, and basically takes you to that right path and assumably fills in the blanks for you. So
I'm guessing it's only available for like Home Assistant OS or maybe like Home Assistant supervised installation. So obviously, if you're running Home Assistant via Docker or some other, got it in a virtual machine, it's not necessarily going to have access to the host machine's USB devices. So therefore, it's not going to be able to do USB discovery. But I do think that for them, if you've got like a Home Assistant Blue or running it on a Home Assistant OS, which is them having as much control over the whole end-to-end system, having USB support just makes that whole support for new users that are less technically inclined to just plug in a Z-Wave stick and be prompted, and away they go. Pretty
well,
awesome.
if you pass it through, it should still come. Like, so my Conbi is actually passed directly through to my Docker container, right? So it's in a VM, and then in the VM it's in a Docker. It's not the cleanest setup, but whatever. But that is it's passed directly through to my Docker instance. So in that case, I do believe it should show up, but maybe that's something somebody can test, because if I remove my thing, I don't want to. Then it's going to be, if somebody has an extra stick or something like that, and you run a Docker container, just standalone, pop it in, let us know what happens.
Yeah, interesting. All right. So speaking of Z-Wave JS, so there are updates to the Z-Wave JS integration with Home Assistant. Basically, I found this a long time ago when I was running a Z-Wave through a proper Z-Wave USB stick and Open Z-Wave back before Z-Wave JS was even probably started. Was that Home Assistant would be great at supporting what the version of Open Z-Wave it had, or in this case Z-Wave JS at the time. Getting sensor values and all that. The problem was that, if Z-Wave JS implements a new sensor or has support for a device that Home Assistant hasn't upgraded to yet, you're sort of stuck, waiting for Home Assistant to go in and update the Z-Wave JS underscoring libraries. Then you have to wait for the next release, and it gets really frustrating. So there is the support, and it's probably going to be for advanced users, but Home Assistant now has the ability for expose command classes, which is what Z-Wave JS basically uses. So there's a new automation trigger type called zwave_js.value_updated. So it'll allow you to trigger automations of any command class value that Z-Wave JS supports. So there you go. You can make your own automations against devices which are better supported in Z-Wave JS but haven't made it over to Home Assistant just yet. So,
interesting.
Yeah, if you've got that obscure Australian, South African version of a air conditioning controller that Home Assistant doesn't recognize, but it recognizes the US version, you can somehow get it working in Home Assistant now.
Mimic it, basically. Yeah.
I know from experience. I had to do pull requests into Open Z-Wave because like literally it was the same device, but the model numbers were different because of the regions. Yep. So I can completely see something like that having to happen for the same thing here. But good to see that there's a workaround now available, not requiring you to wait for Home Assistant to go in and update their Z-Wave JS version.
Yeah, which is really nice. Not related at all. There's now a new service to complete completed shopping list items. So basically, if you remember a little bit ago, there was a new shopping list kind of feature that was kind of brought in. And yeah, so now you can use automations to mark things as completed.
That is actually something that I thought that Home Assistant should have had as part of like the initial,
right?
Because so obviously for people following me on my blog, I've got my grocery automations, right? Like I have every time the dishwasher runs, it marks one tablet from the dishwasher used. So then when it gets to a certain level in grocery, minimum stock level goes, hey, you need to buy some more dishwashing tablets, right? Having the ability now for this to then flow into Home Assistant, like Home Assistant could then become my shopping list because I've got the Home Assistant app on my phone. There's so many places, right? I've got Grocery, the Amazon Echo app for, if we've said something by voice. I've also got, Home Assistant as well, right? So now Home Assistant I can sort of try and find a way to pull all that data into one list. And then if I tell the lady in Amazon Echo, hey, this item is, check it off the list, it can then be marked everywhere, like done. Even in grocery, right? Like if I all of a sudden tell grocery that I've just purchased, a new bag of dishwashing tablets, the minimum stock level will go up. It can then go and tell Home Assistant, hey, you don't need dishwashing tablets anymore. So
yeah. That's interesting. So, because I guess grocery doesn't have a tie-in to the Amazon
no, unfortunately.
Echoes. Oh, that's brutal.
And that's what I was hoping like Nabu Casa could hopefully do. Like eventually with their, Amazon, like with the Home Assistant Amazon skill,
right,
could make it tighter because like there's integrations with the shopping list in the Amazon Echo. I think a lot of to-do apps do it.
Yep.
I think,
Yep. The one, our shopping list one, we use, I don't remember what it's called, but it's got it in there too, right?
Yeah, right. So just I hope one day that Home Assistant can do that, especially if this, completed service is now in that, if I could have the Home Assistant shopping list and the Amazon Echo shopping list in sync, that would be perfect, right?
Yeah. That would be nice. But hopefully one day.
Yeah, one day I can dream, right?
That's right.
All right. So new integrations landing in Home Assistant. So AirTouch 4 is an integration that allows you to control ducted air conditioning systems that are using the AirTouch 4 controller. So currently the integration only supports the AirTouch 4 controllers with an individual temperature monitor control module. But I think that's pretty cool if you have that system. So ducted air conditioning, that can be, I'm assuming, you can turn off ducts around the house and choose which room is going to be cooled and all that.
Yeah, that's actually kind of neat. I've looked at doing this kind of thing before. Obviously, I don't know what an AirTouch 4 is, so maybe not with that specifically, but because we have centralized AC.
Yep.
Right. It's basically all on or all off unless you manually flip it. Right. And I have seen there's I don't remember the names, but there's a couple of different manufacturers that make kind of like smart duct vent cover things. I don't remember what they're called.
So I've seen them like for the heating, like your heating things. But then I don't know if this is like a myth or something. But then I remember when like these sort of started coming out, maybe just before Home Assistant even started, right before I found out about Home Assistant, and a lot of people were saying that you shouldn't close your heating ducts because it can cause like pressure buildup going back into your heating system and changes, what your heating system is designed to do. I'm not sure if that's true. Maybe it is for some older models or whatever. I always, found that fascinating.
I've heard the exact same thing. So, but I don't know. Like, a part of me is like, maybe I'll challenge that.
Yeah,
and get it just because like for me, like my basement gets freezing, but my upstairs is a lot warmer, right? Like, and typically when you go from down to up, you'll actually feel like a few degree like Celsius difference, right? And it is very noticeable, especially in the winter. So I don't know. It's I've always thought to maybe do something like that, but that would be nice. But yeah, it's cool. I'll have to check out the AirTouch 4. I don't know what that is, but
I guess you'll find out.
Yeah, that's right. P1 Monitor. So that's a platform that allows you to read data from your smart meter via serial port. So again, that gas or water meter consumption. So now the P1 Monitor's API platform is now integrated with Home Assistant. So you can bring all of that stuff directly into your energy dashboard.
That's it. And if you're interested, check out Marcel Zudwig. I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly. They created like Slimmy Lazy. It's basically a little module, looks like an ESP module or something. I must admit I've only seen it on Twitter, so I haven't delved too far into it. But it looks like it is a device that is, designed to make integrating any smart meters with a P1 port super easy to get working, and it plugs straight into Home Assistant. So it's on the Home Assistant Twitter. I'll leave a link in the show notes if you want to check it out. But yeah, that's cool.
That's actually really cool. But I'm wondering where, like, I don't know what we use here. Oh, actually, if you type P1 port into, I use DuckDuckGo, but you actually get Marcel's link there.
Perfect.
third or
There you
fourth
go.
one down. So here, perfect. You know what? I'll put this in the show notes for us. So it's there.
Perfect. Do you think and then I guess how do you find out if you've got a P1 port, right? Like what do you do? Like go out and I guess you'll just Google, like for you, Toronto
It's literally what I'm doing.
gas meter P1 port, right?
Yeah,
hope for the best. Yeah, but I guess if it's there, you can get that device, plug it straight in, and done.
Yeah, I'm interested to see because I don't even think I have the ability to. Because I think for me, the gas meter is actually outside. I believe.
That's it. I
water
guess it
meter's
depends
inside,
where
but-
your meters are, right? Like if you're in an apartment block, could be down in the basement or something, right? Where there's not going to be no ability for reception to be picked up for that Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
All right, Tractive. So Tractive is an Austrian company that develops real-time location trackers for pets and other animals using GPS and GSM technology. So the new integration allows you to monitor the locations of your pets from within Home Assistant and set up automations based on the information. I can guarantee you that there must be some other uses for those trackers. I'm guessing in cars, maybe in why would you limit that to just pets? That sounds
Your children, yeah.
yeah, no, definitely. And there's got to be some people this is where technology gets scary, right? Like you see,
Yeah.
the power of even in home automation, right? Like the stuff you can do in Home Assistant, you wielded with the wrong person, can be pretty scary, right? And
Sure.
I think, that sort of device. Yes, cool. It's put it on the dog collar and away you go. But it's also, I don't know. It seems a bit stalkerish to me.
Yeah. But
Guess it was just coming as a device tracker to Home Assistant, real time GPS logging.
yeah, I mean the name itself, device tracker, is a little bit.
Yeah,
Right. But
Tractive. How easy would it be though to be a private detective now?
oh, I know, right? It's like back in the day in the movies where you see that they throw this magnetic little GPS tracker thing underneath your car and you could
Now
totally
it's
do that
literally
right now.
just while you put a tile, a Bluetooth tracker in someone's wallet and hope for the best.
Well, I don't know if you've seen those things where people have been so there's one guy that got a bunch of the Apple AirTags and because again, the Apple ecosystem is so large. Anybody
huge,
with a somewhat modern iPhone can track your thing. And they some guy mailed it to he sent it a couple of times to North Korea just to see how it gets there and whatever. And then he sent it to Apple. I think he sent it to Tim Cook, and he actually followed it all the way through, so you could actually see in the airport. You could actually see where it is, which is pretty cool. I mean, I was actually thinking of picking up a couple of these, as much as I think that they're not super overpriced for what they are, but they're not the cheapest. But for luggage and stuff like that, for when eventually I can travel again, hopefully. Because it seems great, right? If somebody loses your luggage, it's hey, it's actually right here in this airport or in this
you sent
in the middle of this runway, right? Where you forgot it. Yeah. So
interesting.
But I digress.
All right. What have we got in other noteworthy changes, Rohan?
Yeah. So some other noteworthy changes. So there's a bunch of stuff that's moving to the UI config. So the YAML config will be imported and removed for Nanoleaf, the Nmap tracker, the Rainforest Eagle integration, as well as the Uptime Robot integration. So all of those will be moving to the UI. The nice thing is it kind of is automatically done for you. But just double check your config, I would say, just in case you do have it in there twice. But it should all be handled automatically.
This is something too that I like. Like we were talking before about how Home Assistant's hitting their stride in some aspects. I do like that. Yes, a lot of things are moving away from YAML in terms of the configuration, but they're not. They haven't just gone and said, right, that's it. This release, everything is moving over to the UI. It's progressively, slowly. Integrations are moving over, and that's sort of, yes, it might take longer. We're probably talking about this for a year, right? But at least it's not breaking changes for every single user on one release, right? Not everyone's going to have a Nanoleaf integration or a Rainforest Eagle integration, and so yes, some people get hit hard on one release, but then you could go 3-4 releases without needing to worry about any of this for a while. So I think this is another, like, it's great in terms of managing breaking changes and managing users' expectations as well. So I think that's been handled pretty well too.
Yeah.
Simply Safe locks now get jammed support. So we talked about the jam support being added in the last release. So now Simply Safe locks now have that new state of jammed. There was I think there was an attribute that was added into the lock so that you could denote, is this lock in a jammed state?
Yep.
I believe that's now breaking change for this release. So you'll now use the jammed state instead of relying on that attribute to determine what the state of the Simply Safe lock is in.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last episode or the one before that. So yeah, it was brought in not too long ago, that whole jammed state.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of related-ish, I guess. MQTT alarm panels now support vacation mode. So if you use that, I believe, Phil, I thought you did.
I was looking at, so I do use the MQTT alarm panel. Just because I don't have a real security system, I use the alarm control panel in Home Assistant to denote, the state of the home. Is someone home, someone not home. Just makes it easier for guest modes. If someone comes over, they can punch a code into Home Assistant and the house acts as if, one of us is home with our device trackers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of this vacation mode being added. And I think it was added in the last release to alarm panels in general. But now the MQTT alarm panel, which is custom for Home Assistant, is there supported for vacation mode. So if you do have an obscure alarm control panel that does support vacation mode, and you do bring it into Home Assistant with MQTT, or if you're like me, you just have an MQTT alarm control panel for the sake of it, it's now supporting vacation mode, which is pretty cool.
That's great.
Breaking changes, HomeKit. So a couple of HomeKit runs this release, but starting off with the actual HomeKit protocol itself. So the underlying HomeKit protocol version has changed from 1.0 to 1.1. So cameras with motion sensors and some other accessories may need to be reset using the HomeKit.reset_accessory service, or unpaired and paired again. If after unpairing with your iOS the QR code does not show, the pairings can manually be removed with the HomeKit.unpair service using the developer tools. So I'm guessing, there's a lot of changes being done with that HomeKit protocol. So just, watch out for that. You may also see, I'm guessing it's just an underlying library that's changed, but best to keep on top of it.
Tesla Powerwall. So if you have one of these, one, I am jealous. Two, there is a breaking change. So the attributes for energy exported in KW and energy imported in KW have been converted to their own energy sensors. So it's not an attribute anymore. It is a sensor of its own.
And that can then be used in the energy dashboard.
There you go.
Cool. All right, Wink. So I don't know why I haven't put, maybe we've already talked about this, but Wink's going to get, I think we need to roll the Cloud Strikes Again music for this one.
Yeah.
The Wink integration has been deprecated and is pending removal in Home Assistant 2021.11. So their developer portal, which is needed for obtaining an API token, has been taken offline, and the Wink customer support has confirmed that no new API tokens and client secrets can be obtained. So it's now impossible to use the integration with Home Assistant. So bye-bye Wink.
Yeah, that's, again, cloud. There's a lot of other breaking changes as well. So even so have a look at the release notes, because there are quite a few this release. I know there was like Lutron. There's a bunch. So just have a look. But one last one, the HomeKit controller. So not the HomeKit protocol itself, but the controller. So in there, the air quality platform has been removed from the HomeKit integration. So it will be removed as of 2021.12. So the December release will remove that air quality platform, which is already deprecated technically. But starting this release, those air quality values have also been broken out as their own sensors, making them easier for you to incorporate into your widgets and whatnot.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, Rohan. And of course, so I think we need to we announced last episode, or the last release episode, I should say, about a competition we're running. So if you want to win a chance for 1 year's worth of Nabu Casa, which Rohan and I will pay for out of our pockets, we are going to announce we're closing the entries on October 1st, and we'll be announcing the winners in the next release episode, which will be for 2021.10. So if you do want to get in on that competition, haspodcast.io/competition is where to enter. There's also a link on our homepage, and we'll have one in the show notes as well. But yeah, Rohan, I'm really pleased with the response we've had. Just so many people, as I said, we're basically using this as a way to find some cool automations, and there's been some great ones. So we're going to pick out a couple that we thought were worthy of sharing around so far. I think Johan in Sweden has got the poop button. So when the children need help on the toilet, they press a button that sends a notification to my mobile and on the Google Home speakers that they need help. So yeah, just a little button near the toilet, say, hey, come help. I think that's awesome.
That's right. Hopefully you sanitize that button once in a while. But yes. Another one is Matheson in Canada. So, hey, Matheson, his favorite automation is going to bed. Simply says, I'm going to bed, and basically locks the computer through event goes, gives him 2 minutes to get upstairs before it turns off the lights, and sets the home into night mode, which then starts disabling this speech notifications, or like the media player notifications, whatever. Yeah. And notifies them throughout the night if there's any motion downstairs. So that's pretty cool. That's a nice, altogether, all-encompassing good night kind of automation, right? I like that it even locks the computer and stuff.
Yeah. I wonder what the logic was for giving him just 2 minutes to get upstairs, because obviously he's got motion sensors downstairs. So I guess you could just say, I'm going to bed, and then once the motion detectors have sensed that there's no motion downstairs, then close everything down, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just easier, just a
personal choice.
Yeah. 2 minutes, and I mean, 2 minutes is decent amount of time. I think just depends on your mobility, and depends on whatever, right? So
it's also like a fixed time though, right? Like you've got that 2 minutes. That's only 2 minutes you get, right? Like if you're sick, or whatever, or you walk into bed and you go, oh, there's a newspaper over there, and you get stuck reading an article, right? Like a clickbait article in the newspaper.
Yeah.
I guess 2 minutes isn't variable, right? So you sort of, it's a hard limit, but
yeah, but it makes sense, right? You got to draw the line somewhere, so it's good.
Duncan in South Africa has said his favorite automation, because it's pretty complicated and took him quite a while to get set up properly, is using the Amazon Echo to ask if you would like to close the curtains when either the TV or a light turns on during the day. So this is using the Amazon Echo Media Player component, and I'm not going to say her name, so I'm replacing Amazon Echo, the Amazon Echo Actionable Notifications, which are part of the Media Player component, and using Philips Hue, the LG WebOS component, and SwitchBot integrations. So yeah, that's awesome. I do have blinds automated as well, and I had them so that when you turn the TV on, same thing during the day, the blinds would close. I guess going to that next level would be having the little lady in the Amazon Echo asking, "Hey, do you want me to close the blinds?" Because I prefer having the blinds closed when the TV's on, but not everyone in my house does. And I think having those actionable notifications saying, hey, do you want me to close the blinds, would actually be pretty handy. So yeah, I really love this one.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. All right, so the last one we're gonna talk about is Jacob in Denmark. I actually really like this one. So basically, on our street, it's a tradition to celebrate birthdays of everyone in the families of those that are living on the street. So basically, everybody raises flags during the day of someone's birthday. So he's got a printed piece of paper that basically says, okay, here's all the dates throughout the year of somebody's birthday, but you have to remember to check it every morning so you don't leave for work without raising the flag. You really don't want to be that guy. Yeah. So then at sundown, though, you got to remember to lower the flag, whatever. So basically what Jacob did is put in Node MCU running ESP Home inside of their fiberglass flagpole, and with a switch connected to the MCU, basically sticking out of a hole, they can just indicate if the flag is raised or not. And then in Google Calendar, there's a copy. In Home Assistant, basically with whatever calendar entries to say flag raised or flag lowered.
Yep.
And then with a push notification to his wife to say, and to him to say whose birthday it is. So you can be that guy that remembers it, right? And make sure that they raise the flag and lower it again. I just think this one is just such a beautiful sense of community, whatever, right?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
it's somebody on your street's birthday, everybody raises a flag in your honor. Which
Yeah.
I don't know, something about that's really nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's funny because as Jacob's last comment here is, as we've become the flag raising leaders on the street, of the percentage of neighbors remembering to raise their flags has also gone up significantly, which is great to behold. And as you come home driving down the street, and it's all because of you, right? So, which is
so
awesome.
Cool. That is really cool.
Yeah, I just thought that one was really, really wholesome. So I really liked that one. But keep those coming. We will be picking a winner on the first. These are just a few that we liked so far. There's actually quite a few we liked so far.
Yeah,
so, but it was
it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, for the sake of the episode, we just and for brevity, we just kind of picked these 4. But yeah.
So Rohan, so that's the competition done with. Any exciting news happening with your Home Assistant installation? How's your how's your delivery driver detection coming along?
It's a monthly check-in. It is exactly where it's been for the last ever. I think it's interesting because I've been reading. There's a couple of things. It sounds like even Blue Iris has like deep stack integration built in and things like that. So I might actually look at not doing this. Not that I have been doing this.
Yep.
But maybe looking at doing something like that. I don't know. It's one of those things where right now I've got so much stuff going on. This is just on, not even the back burner. It's behind the back burner. And but yeah.
Yeah, I understand. It's fine. I'll keep bugging you about it though. I want you to get it done so then I can just take your code basically.
It's the silliest thing, right? And the entire thing was for me to learn about a little bit about like image recognition and doing that kind of thing. But I've read enough about it where I think I understand how it works, and now I'm like, do I care to do it? But I think I will. Again, it's just a matter of time.
So randomly, I was talking to you about this offline, but I just found it. One, I didn't know this feature existed in general. But so we've talked about so I'm running Mac on my computer OS, and I know there's a Home Assistant app for Mac OS. We've talked about it previously on the podcast. I haven't installed it because once again, right, like life goes on, and I just haven't got around to installing it. And so the other day, I just upgraded to the beta for us to run this episode, like for this episode, so I actually could sound like I know what I'm talking about when we're going through some of these release notes. And up in the address bar, because I use Chrome/Brave, I noticed, hey, there's like install app. Like, what does that mean? Like, is it somehow Home Assistant telling my browser that there is a Mac OS app available? So like, well, let's click it, right? And what it actually did was it actually popped out, the Chrome tab into its own, and it comes up as it looks like another app on my macOS dock. It's just a little self-contained version of the Home Assistant UI. And this is probably like people are probably listening to this and be like, how can you call yourself a web developer if you didn't know this thing was real, right? But I just thought this was so cool, and I literally now have a little Home Assistant icon running in my dock, and there's Home Assistant running. So very cool. That's my little win for the week. So I can't believe it.
So I don't think it's the same as the app because I think the app
no definitely not 100% not like
into it.
Yeah. Because the other app will have like notifications and probably presence and all that. This thing has no access to my OS. It is literally like a browser tab just sitting in my dock on the computer.
Yeah, like Chrome app mode or whatever it's called.
Exactly. Yeah. So but cool to see that was available in Home Assistant. Just a little button, press it, done. So I'm going to take that as a win. Very impressed. So if you were like me and didn't know that's there and you are running Chrome, add it in. I recommend it.
But when we looked, I didn't have that, and I do have the beta installed as well. So
I don't think it was a beta thing, right? I think it's just your computer.
It's just I think it's literally just a what's it called? It's the browser looking at it
Yeah.
as a, hey, this can be a standalone
Were
app
you
kind of thing.
using, out of curiosity, were you using Nabu Casa to look at or using your local IP address to get access to it?
Internally, I use my local one.
Yeah, because I was running it through the UI.nabukasa link. Maybe
Got
that has something to do with it, because maybe it needs to be like a HTTPS domain for it to work. I don't know. I just discovered it this week, so you probably know more than me.
That's interesting, actually. Let me try and do that. So I'm going in through my external, and I still don't see it. Let me try. I gotta find my Nabu Casa URL. I never know it because it's complicated on purpose.
I think that was by design. Yeah,
That's yeah.
is that? I think that might be browser.
It's a browser. Yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah.
It's a browser thing.
So in your profile, you can choose, what theme to use, and you can have it. Yeah, so I'm guessing it must be like a cookie/browser setting.
Yeah. I'm almost 100% sure that's what it is. But it's just funny because every time that's what happens. But yeah, no, even logging in through Nabu Casa, I don't have it. Oh, I got it on my. So I have a external, just a domain as well. I got it on my domain. I didn't get it on Nabu Casa. Oh, I did get it on Nabu Casa now. It just took a little bit. Okay, great. So I guess maybe it is an external thing. I still don't have it on my internal one. I've had it open for a while.
Yeah, so it must be must need either HTTPS or just not an internal domain, which, that's fine. But very cool. Highly recommend. I will have to. I think this has reminded me, though, that I do need to get that macOS app, start getting some better visibility into my computer. And
yeah, you know what? I've had it for a while. It is actually pretty cool. You get to see a lot of stuff, but I keep forgetting to open it. It's just, it's maybe that's what it, like for me, just by default, because I'm just so used to going to my URL, right? Just open my browser and type in whatever.
Well, that's the same. Like I have Home Assistant as the first bookmark in my browser, right? So it's always just a click away.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to have to remember to Alt Tab to get into the other window there.
Exactly. But the UI looks pretty similar. It actually looks closer to the mobile app. So you even have the little app configuration button and everything down there.
Nice. Yep.
Because I downloaded this a while ago. But yeah, it's pretty nice. I know we had Paulus come on and talk about it, and me half realizing what it is. I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool. And Paulus was like, what do you mean kind of cool? Right. But he did talk about some of the other things that it brings in, which is actually pretty cool. So again, things like having the ability to monitor, hey, is this laptop on or off or stuff like that, and do stuff based on that, right? I mean, just simply, even one of the automations we talked about earlier, which is Matheson's automation, he talked about, I use this app to lock my computer, blah, blah, blah. I don't think this will be able to lock your computer or do any of those kind of things, but at least it brings in a little bit of visibility into it.
Yep.
Or it's on, or the uptime has been so long or whatever. Again, I don't personally use the app for that, but if you do, that's even better. Yeah. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Wouldn't miss it for the world, mate.
All right. I think that is.
Well, I think we're going to call that a wrap. Yeah. But yes, don't forget, if you want a chance to get us to pay for Nabu Casa for you for 1 year, haspodcast.io/competition. We will be announcing the winner in the next release episode. So yeah, competition entries close October 1st. Get on it.
That's right. Cheers.
Cheers. If you want to share your Home Assistant journey or come on as a guest, reach out to us at feedback@haspodcast.io. That's HASS podcast.io.
The Home Assistant podcast is hosted by Phil Hawthorne and myself, Rohan Karamandi. For links to topics we discussed today, check out our show notes on haspodcast.io.